Hi, and welcome to Sisters in Law, live streaming from Facebook at 3 o'clock. I'm Rosalyn Charles, and I'm here with my co-host,
Judge T.
And we've got a lot to talk about this particular day. You know, last week was very eventful, and it didn't stop with the week. It's even on the weekend, the 45th did not take a break. We are going to talk about Kellyann. We've had a lot of activity on our Facebook page.
Well, that was a deflection from really with the visitors from the historical black colleges and universities.
And you see, I think that's a general theme with respect to the 45th administration. Deflect and distract. And that, in general, is what we're going to talk about, how all of this drama that takes place during the course of the week keeps your eye off what we would call important, and what you should consider important also. There's drama, 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 look over here, look over there, but what's happening? And the distraction from the Kellyann situation really was a distraction from a bunch of nothing with the historically black colleges and the presidents that were in the room with Donald Trump on that particular day.
Well, the reason why the colleges visited, the United Negro College Fund had given a list to 45 as to the needs of the colleges and the university. One of the two needs that they were really there for was for Pell Grants and more federal funding. The 45th kind of just deflected their reason and really made them into a photo op.
And that's essentially what he does. He has a whole bunch of photo ops. He is parading a number of people in front of his office. There are all kind of cameras going off and off, but nothing is getting done. The HSBCUs need additional funding for the purpose of educating students. Mm-hmm. They wanted more Pell Grants. They wanted more federal grants. All he basically did was execute an executive order, very popular term these days, an executive order which said something to the effect of,
they have open door to get to him.
And isn't this a free nation? And don't all of us have an open door,
but the
if you will, to get to him?
Sora, that actually went about was Kellyanne's not knowing how to properly sit on a couch.
Do you think she purposely sat on that couch in that particular manner? I'll say
well, I have
manner
to,
in and
you
of
know what?
itself.
We have asked a lot of our viewers to always to give us some information, and we got contact from Gwen Asbury Speed, Nancy Davidson, Wendy Ann Miller, Sharon Shiz, Yvonne Johns, and it was a mixture. People made it into a racial issue. They sent in pictures of President Obama doing photo shoots where his feet were on the desk. They sent in pictures of Madam Michelle Obama.
They're always trying to conflate issues, mix it up. One has absolutely nothing to do with the other. They're just bringing up stuff. But what happened?
Our best comment, I think, that wrapped this all up, and I'm giving this a shout out to Pamela Exum. And this is what Pamela said. All things considered, there is no excuse for Kellyann because she should know how to conduct herself away from the comfort of her home. Etiquette, manners, courtesy, decorum, professionalism, whatever the label you choose, she disrespected herself, her husband, and her children. She was a professional environment, yet she conducted herself as a common alley cat.
All right,
thanks,
Pamela.
Pam, but she has, that's her opinion, and she's sticking to it, and I appreciate it. Thank you for your contacts, because we really love when you give us your thoughts on what's going on and continuing in with the conversation.
So, with respect to Kellyann, the overriding thing was the presidents of the historically black colleges
mostly
were there.
Mostly men. Mm-hmm.
Were in the room. There was a photo op with the president the 45th, in the Oval Office, and they got absolutely nothing that they asked for. But I guess their voices were heard.
Kellyann actually went on the Fox and the Hen House channel and gave her reasoning that she was asked to do a shot and she did not realize.
They don't have a professional photographer in the Oval Office?
Hey.
Kellyann is not the White House photographer. She is counselor to the president. But if
that's
she's
excuse.
multitasking. That's what she was doing.
That's the excuse she gave.
Okay, that's what she's doing.
Now, we want to also, we're not going to stay on this one as long, but I do want to remind our our followers that even though the ban is not being talked about as much,
You mean the Muslim
ban.
ban?
There was an incident that occurred last week where the son of Muhammad Ali and his ex-wife Khalilah Ali, they were on their way back from Jamaica, not from any of the 7 countries that have been highlighted by the 45th. They were coming back from vacation in Jamaica. They were actually held up at the airport for several hours. Now, I know...
Based on what?
Their
names, their skin colors?
Only their names. Even though they had American passports.
This is the danger that exists with these alleged bans on specific groups, because it encompasses a lot of people. You have said yourself.
My cousin Samantha, her last name is Muhammad. Her husband, his last name Muhammad. I have 2 identical twin cousins. One is a Christian and one is a Muslim. Now, I can see them going on vacation, one being held up and one not.
That is the danger when you start targeting groups to ban them. This is the danger when you start looking at immigrants for the purpose of deportation. Innocent people, if you will, and let me just rephrase that. Everyone is innocent, but American citizens, if you will, people who are here legally, if you will, are going to get caught up in this ridiculousness.
Well, these are American citizens. I mean, Miss Ali went as far as to have to show a picture of her and Muhammad Ali that she happened to have in her pocketbook.
Well, I mean, they were probably questioning even Muhammad Ali's pedigree at that
particular
point.
They let her go an hour or 2 before they let her son go, even though she kept telling the authorities that this was her son.
You know, it's the same, again, American citizens, people who are here legally, people who have valid reasons to be here and are not in any way on any kind of, if you will, terrorist suspect list, are going to get caught up. Same with the deportations, because Americans are getting caught up in this, and you get put into these cells for weeks before you can prove that you have a right to even be here.
I actually saw what I was a very emotional scene where a father who had been in this country 25 years, he was dropping off his 12-year-old daughter at school, and ICE actually took him right out of the car. You could hear the child in the back seat crying.
Oh my goodness.
And I don't know if she was videoing or someone else, but they videoed the entire thing. This is a
thoughtless action has been instituted by this administration. No concept with the effects on the human lives. No concept on humanity. No degree of empathy whatsoever for what is actually going on. But are these the issues that are important to you, ladies and gentlemen?
I mean, all of us know someone who is not born in this country. We know that 45's wife's an immigrant. I mean, but not
that's one of the things.
Yeah, but not for the possibility if she came through the airport without him, and maybe somebody doesn't necessarily know who she is when she's not with him.
I imagine
she can also be stopped.
That Khalilah Ali had a U.S. passport, just like I'm sure his wife has a U.S. passport, just like I'm sure a lot of individuals who have different names, or at least not your quote-unquote typical American name, whatever that means, all have U.S. passports. What is troubling to me about all of this is not just the religious aspect of it, but it seems like they are immigrant profiling. And by that, that's my code word for saying looking for black and brown people to exclude
again,
from this
because
country.
I
there
have
are
not.
Poles, there are Polish people, there are all kinds of people
Absolutely.
from all kinds of Europeans that are here
illegally. The
illegally.
largest growing immigration group is actually Asians and East Indians, not anyone from Latin America.
Wow.
So, and that we're going to get more on as we continue with the bans that the 45 is doing.
But again, last week up through Saturday, very, very interesting. The
Jefferson. We gotta talk about Jefferson Beauregard Sessions.
Yes. The president gave his State of the Union. Oh my goodness. We had many issues. I mean, just amazing issues with, I'm using one of the 45th words, amazing, with Sessions and his, I guess, recusal with respect to the Russians.
Beauregard was asked a question by Senator Al Franken. And I don't know if he didn't hear the question or he was just trying to cover himself, because Al Franken in general asked him, what would he do if he found out there was collusion by anyone in the Trump campaign with the Russians during his running of office and after he got into office? And he didn't ask him, did he speak to anybody?
He asked, what would he do in his capacity as the Attorney General if it came to light that there was some, if you will, shenanigans with respect to the 2016 election?
Guilt must have dropped on his head and knocked him out. Because first he says,
Isn't
well,
he an attorney? Go ahead.
no, not only as attorney. Remember, he got the thumbs down when he tried to be a federal judge.
Okay.
He was Attorney General of the
I guess
state of
what I'm
Alabama.
I'm getting what I'm saying. Ask the question that's put in front of you. Don't create something. But what would you?
But this is what he said. First he says, well, I don't know that such conversations happen, but I can tell you this. I never had no communications with any Russians.
Jessica wants to know what we think about the wiretapping. Jessica, we're going to get to that.
We're going to get to that wiretapping.
Talk about that.
Definitely.
Oh,
but when Beauregard, I mean, he's asked what would he do if somebody else did such a thing. He immediately took cover. He took cover to say...
That's a sign of a guilty man.
And what? 2 days later, poof, he remembered he had two conversations. One was actually at the RNC convention.
During the election?
During the election.
Campaign, the 2016
upon
election?
which he was a surrogate for 45.
All righty.
And the second one was actually in his office. Now, none of this would really have mattered because what the Republicans started to do, they immediately wanted to put out a picture of Nancy Pelosi meeting with the Russian diplomat, with some of the other senators that had met. But the question was, I mean, if he had met with with one of the Russian diplomats, it would not have been unusual.
Because all of those people
in the process of his job, because over the years you're going to speak with everyone around the country,
as well as
but
foreign
the
national.
question
Yes.
was, what would you do if somebody else was doing something in collusion with regards to the the discourse that was possibly happening?
Check out the video of his exchange with Congressman Franken. He skipped the question completely and, went right into incriminating himself.
Well, he actually recused himself after many, many days. Well, not many days, but like I said, not even many days, only a couple of days, when the Democrats kept saying that he didn't have to recuse himself. The Republicans kept saying he didn't have to recuse himself, and the Democrats saying he has to recuse himself. I mean, he was a part of that campaign.
Yes.
But more importantly, when he did, 45 got upset.
Yeah, I got the impression, although we really don't know what happened, we got the impression that Sessions didn't check in with the 45th about his recusal. But we do know, at least from the reports there in the media, that it is said that 45 is upset about this recusal. I guess now he doesn't have a special person to look in on the investigation.
Well, you know what, and it's been
it's
always been my thought that Sessions thought that his possibility of taking this Attorney General's position would maybe put him in a line to maybe get a seat on that Supreme Court. And I think right now, I think he just fried that possibility.
Yeah, he did want to be a federal judge. But why wouldn't you want to be on the
Supreme Court? That would be the highest praise that he could have gotten from 45.
Well, those are just our thoughts.
But that's our thoughts. But I think he pretty much fried that opportunity because going through another session with asking him some questions, because he's now going to actually give an addendum to his answers supposedly on tomorrow.
You know what?
But in writing. He doesn't have to come back. Right.
The question was, what would you do? All he had to say was that I would follow the law, I would investigate. But he got himself, he got his own self in trouble, if you will, ladies and gentlemen. Oh my goodness.
I think that, and the next thing we wanted to talk about that I think was kind of, I don't understand it. The 45th gave a State of the Union.
Ah, yes.
He
He managed to stay on, well, at least he was able to read the teleprompter.
The man had his big boy pants on, and he could see Dick run, run Dick run, see Jane sit Jane
All right,
sit,
so he was able
spot,
to read
run.
He stayed on message.
Oh my goodness.
He actually looked and sounded presidential.
Oh, come
you
on.
may not
Please.
have liked what he had to say.
There was
but
nothing
I give him-
presidential about being able to read without having a Tourette syndrome tick
Oh,
go
come on. I think he looked a lot better than we've seen him before.
No,
what
but
about
because
the
you look
tone?
totally like a madman, and for one day you look like you're sane,
I'm
does
giving
not.
him that one day.
Oh,
It didn't
my
last
goodness.
long. It didn't last long.
All right.
I gave him that one day.
Okay.
But let's pull out some of the things in that speech. He made a couple of promises that actually he's backing up on some promises. Everybody's saying he's trying to keep his promises, but
Well, he tried to slide something in with connection to his band. He did this new task force called Voice, and that
Voice.
is Victims of Immigrants Crime Enforcement. Victims of immigrants, meaning
What on earth?
It's a task force that if you have been a victim of an immigrant, that this is a special task force just for immigrants.
What about victims of the 45th? I think that's a task force that we need to find.
But I
need
think
to
there's a
found.
little constitutional issue where you're going to pick out one particular group and get a task force.
That's what he does. He divides and
Well,
it's divisive.
I mean, he can get a task force for, since he's now gone back on the bathroom ban, for anyone who sees someone go in the bathroom that doesn't look like they might be a male or a female. I mean, we better watch out because
Yes.
he's starting all kinds of task force, and who knows who's going to be next on these task
But
force.
on a more serious tip, with respect to voice, if you will, it's my understanding that the stats really don't show a whole lot of individuals who are quote unquote victims of immigrants. The
More
larger
Americans are committing crimes against
than-
Americans.
Yes,
We know
and percentage-wise also. So what is the point? He's trying to play to his base and enrage.
He's pandering like he
he's
always
fine.
does, just a little pandering.
Okay.
But I think one of the
What else
things
did he
that
talk
was
about?
mostly, I think the most emotional, and I'm sure that everybody's going to have their different opinions with regards to Karen Owens,
Yes.
the wife of the Navy SEAL that was killed. I mean, every president brings to the State of the Union guests. And of these guests, they're strategically put in different places.
Yes.
Now, we know that 45th has made comments that have been pretty insulting to people of special needs. So what he did was he put a woman that was of special needs who wasn't really expected to live past
Yes,
5, and she's
yes,
now
yes.
20 years old
All right, so
in
he's attempting
college.
to show this is my other side.
He put
I'm
her
really-
in a designated
yes, I
place.
saw that.
Then there was an African American woman who I think she failed 3rd grade 3 times and was in a public school, and then she got put in a charter school, and now she's
we're-
off in college and getting ready to get
So
her.
she was there to champion charter schools and the benefits of that.
And so she was strategically
Okay,
put in
she's
their
put in
place.
place.
But then I don't know, it wasn't a problem. I think Karen Owens was a little bit early. I think for me, if my husband had only died a few weeks ago, I don't know if it was in the
let's
best
be clear.
taste.
We have no problem with Karen Owens.
No,
whatsoever.
not at all. Not at all. But
No,
what I'm
let's be
saying is
clear.
that 45 had said that he and actually Ivanka, not even the
So
first lady.
Melania and so the first couple did not go to.
It's
to
the
give their
first
condolences
daughter and
and-
45. They went, and he said that he had visited with the family and spoke to them and how it was such a great
Didn't Owens'
visit.
father reject that visit completely?
He did not want to speak to him, and in fact, he wants an investigation because when 45 made this decision, he had only been in office for 1 week. Now, this is somebody who did not even want to meet with the Joint Chiefs,
I understand.
who did not
doesn't
take
take the
a
daily
lot
briefings.
the briefings. Yet he made such a call that caused the life of a Navy SEAL. Now, you know how long they stayed on with Hillary when the Abu Ghraib incident happened,
Yes.
and the killings that happened,
Benghazi.
the Benghazi,
Right,
the
right,
Benghazi,
right.
and the killings that went
Right.
on, and Hillary was up for 11 hours being questioned. for the decisions that were made there. He wasn't even president a
Well,
week.
When all of this took place with that unfortunate raid that took the life of Owens, he initially, meaning the 45th, tried to blame it on the generals.
Yes,
isn't he the commander-in-chief? All responsibility, if you want, all roads kind of lead
to the president.
Commander-in-chief. Yes, there might be
But at the actual State of the Union, he said he had just talked to the generals, and they said they got a bevy of information that will be future will be used in their future investigations.
And indeed, maybe they did.
But this is one of the times when I said empathy is not really shown. As Karen Owens is standing there, and she was crying. And she was praying to her husband. She was looking in the air. You got this like 10 minutes of standing ovation that it's between respect and I don't know, because I saw Ivanka, it's Trump, standing right next to this woman. She's crying. And I don't care if you're a stranger. I know your husband was just killed. She couldn't have just went over and just gave the woman some kind of hug or something to let her know that we're supporting you.
So you think the applause and the standing ovation was not enough comfort for that someone else
I think that it really
at least
embraced her because it really, she was kind of holding herself. And the longer it went on, for me, it made me feel even uncomfortable. And so, I don't know, I'm not putting myself in her head, and nor am I in any way demeaning the fact that, she was there in representation of her husband. But we do know that his father wasn't having it, and he is asking for an investigation with regards to the 45th being in there only a week and taking the life of his son.
God bless you, and God bless Karen Owens and her husband
and her family. Yes, and her family, both his father, who is mourning the death, and the investigation that I hope that will actually ensue, so that they can do something about this.
A lot of people said that moment, as well as other moments throughout that speech, was the instant when the 45th became president of the United States. My buddy, and I don't know him personally, Van Jones, said that he became president. I rarely disagree with you, Van, but...
you're my boy, but Van...
what's this about? Or he's just right down the middle. This is the way I'm going to see it.
He
calls it the way he sees it when he sees it.
I think 45 is yelling and screaming at these different networks and these different reporters so much that they're starting to get a little soft. And I think, Van, you were a little soft on that one. There was nothing to give him credit for. No. And I don't think that
all
was
credit goes to Karen Owens and her husband.
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. I think the other thing that he was talking about is the Keystone Pipeline. He made a promise that the Keystone Pipeline was going to be done with American Steel. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a lie. The pipeline is actually going to be laid by one of the Russian oligarchs. His name I'm not even going to try to pronounce, but he is a billionaire, and he was one of the largest donators to Putin's campaign. Now, we talk about 6 degrees of separation. This is only 1 degree of separation.
Why do you say that?
Well, this particular billionaire that owns this pipeline...
What's his name? Abramovich.
Abramovich.
Roman Abramovich.
His daughter is best friends with, guess who? Ivanka Trump.
Was that the woman that was seated next to her at the inauguration?
Her and her husband.
Oh.
Okay, so you're going to think that she and her husband
everybody's in bed
are best friends, that he is not friends with... Her husband is not friends with Ivanka's husband, who is the...
How much money's going to be made
Oh,
on that
my goodness, $25 billion.
And did you tell me that whoever lays the pipe is going to own
the land
under
that the pipe is laid on? So, and that would give a Russian billionaire ownership by eminent domain to a pipeline that we know is going through Native Americans. So let's take
another Indian treaty that we are violating over the course of
absolutely.
The 2 or 3
I mean, we
years
keep talking about immigrants. We're all immigrants.
Yes.
Remember, there was someone that already lived here before
American Indians.
Yes. What's that? The Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria.
Yes.
Okay, there were people already here. And
Yeah.
we're not even going to talk about how we got here. You know, I'm always going to remind you, we did not come voluntarily, but on a boat.
We're staying voluntarily.
And we're not going anywhere.
No.
And we built it.
Yeah. All right.
We built this.
Okay.
Okay?
But that pipeline.
Yeah.
Now, so what about U.S. Steel? What about it benefiting?
Well,
what about American jobs?
He told the U.S. steelworkers that they would get the jobs. Now, the excuse that is used is that the pipe was already there and
where?
Being already on American soil.
Not associated with this pipeline. Just happened to be here.
It happened to be there waiting to be used.
So it would assume that it had already been paid for by somebody else. So why does it have to be, is it going to be paid for again?
And once it gets laid,
Watch yourself.
I don't want to use that term.
Okay.
But whoever's going to install, I'll say install the pipes.
Okay.
Yes, install the pipes.
45.
45.
Interesting. Oh, well. Now, but didn't we wake up Saturday morning to a whole bunch of tweets from the president? I mean, yesterday.
45. His tweet was,
and
how low has President Obama gone to tap my phones during the very sacred election process? Ladies and gentlemen, this
what on
one
earth
is a doozy.
Yes.
45 obviously does not have a lawyer and does not have one who's told them anything about
how you get a warrant.
Well, there is something we have that's called FISA court. That is the Foreign Intelligence Court that was done in 1978. It's a surveillance court, 45. And the only way you can go there is the NSA or the FBI or the CIA. And if they're asking for a warrant, Melania, don't even start to pack your clothes, sweetie. There is already reasonable cause. That means they have probable cause.
Now, yes, probable cause.
To ask for such a warrant.
And probable cause is not just some thought in your head. It's based on not absolute facts, but it's a coupling of both facts and practicality. So some law enforcement officer, if this even exists, but I think this is just another distraction. But in order to get a warrant, you have to have probable cause. It's based on a document that is taken to a judge in the FISA court, by a law enforcement officer or maybe a U.S. attorney. But
let's clarify this. A FISA warrant is happening when the CIA has tapped a foreign entity.
Yes.
Now, so they have to be a foreign entity, not Americans. But if an American comes on the tape or on the line while they are listening, because they can legally listen to foreign entities. They do it all the time.
Right.
But if an American comes on the line, they must stop listening and then go and get a FISA warrant. Now, there has been a time, because there was a FISA warrant that was requested in September.
Do we know why?
It was denied.
It was
no,
denied.
I mean, this is Secret Service, so they don't have to tell us all of the information. But it was denied.
Well, NSA is
another one was asked for in October that was granted, not for Trump Towers. Okay? It was not done for Trump Towers. The head of the intelligence said that he knows for sure that there was never a request done for Trump Tower or for Trump himself.
So again, another red herring.
Paranoia.
This is the drama that
but
the
that's
45th creates.
This man, I'm telling you, he rose up from that coffin at 3 o'clock,
analogy.
and I'm telling you, the man is like Barnabas Collins. He wakes up and he just starts clicking at 5 o'clock in the morning. But what the deflection is that people actually by 12 o'clock that afternoon were protesting outside of Trump Towers with President Obama's face saying, "Lock him up."
You think that they
So
were
what
paid
comes,
protesters?
see, what comes from the
Let's
mouth
use a spicer
of the
mind.
president
Paid protesters?
is very, very important. So, 45. I know that, you got a big boost out of everyone thinking that you were such a big boy on your speech.
Was that Tuesday night?
Anytime the man can go 5 minutes without getting rabid and foaming at the mouth, they give him credit. I give you no credit.
Low bar, low
The bar is
and
so low
bar.
that the fact that you can have a conversation without having Tourette's and
Watch it.
calling somebody a name
Yeah.
or screaming or saying that you're getting paranoid, thinking somebody is investigating you. It's not credit.
And
That's the lowest bar that you can ask of a president.
You realize that in general, most of the fake news that is put out by the 45th has some theme around everybody's after me, everybody's trying to get me, it's somebody else's fault. It's always some kind of deflection as opposed to, as you indicated, him taking responsibility for the position in which he has.
Sora, there is one thing. While we were sleeping,
What was he doing?
the Senate voted that Trump no longer has to give up his taxes.
And I can think that in general, that should be the theme of
The very basis.
While we're being distracted by all the drama, the Congress and Senate is about the work of motivating or at least forwarding the 45th agenda and trying to protect him.
I think what they have decided is that while we have at least an advantage, we don't even want to see what's in those taxes because we don't have to be forced to have to act upon it
and deal with it.
Exactly.
This whole Russian web that is being actually, I think it's already woven. I was going to say the Russian web that we weave, but it's woven.
It's
just
is.
we're about to unravel it. It may take some time, ladies and gentlemen, but
We'll find out at the end.
yes, we will. Now, I don't know. Now, this morning, nothing's come up this morning, has it? Have we heard?
Well,
anything?
you know what? I tried to pray this morning and get my mind ready. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be giving next week. You're going to get a taped conversation. We still want you to watch it at 3. We're going to be taking care of some business that is going to benefit you.
Yes.
So please make sure that you're here next week at 3 o'clock for our taped show. We're still going to have our
release of, I believe, our 5th show
on Wednesday.
And I believe that will, one of the issues that we're going to talk about in show number 5 is our prison nation, if you will. And
yes, privatizing prisons, one of the biggest money makers that's going to be going on besides privatizing our schools. We still want you to hit us up on our Twitter, Instagram, and if you have a large amount of information, send it to us on our email, and that's sistersandlaw@gmail.com.
As you may also hit us up on Facebook, as you did. We're we enjoy the various topics that come up. Kellyan's article really sparked a whole lot of activity on the Facebook page. We invite you to take a look at that activity and some of the other posts that we're making. But also subscribe to our YouTube channel, Sisters and Law, and hit us up on Instagram and Twitter. And until next week or midweek, we're going to say so long.
Thank you for joining us, Sisters in Law. Have a wonderful Sunday, and we hope to see you next week.